What's going on, family? How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? I hope everybody had a good MLK day. I hope you all celebrated it in the way that he would have wanted you to celebrate it. I saw a lot of you out there doing that today. So what is going on, family? What is going on? How are we doing? Listen, before we really get started, I want everybody to hit that like button for me. Share, hit the bell. Make sure you hit that bell so that you get notifications. Some people saying that they're not getting notifications. That's some weird stuff. So make sure you just check for me. Make sure you subscribe if you have not subscribed already. Make sure you actually also if you want to, it doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe to brown.com. Subscribe to brown.com. You can go to donatebrown.com. You can also, if you want to donate, you can do that on patreon.com/Carnell. You can do that as well, whatever you want to do. And family, listen, we have to remember that on the 30th, that's this month, that's coming up real fast. We 10 days away. MLK Day, 10 days away. So they were her property. That's coming up. I just started reading it a couple days ago. So it will be fresh in my mind by the time we roll around to the book club. So anyway, family, and it is a lot to absorb. Like, that's a lot of horrors. We won't get into it, but it hits you when I decided to read it kind of close together. So that's on me. Are back, family. Let's see if we are back. You know how they do. They be messing with things. They be acting up. Stuff be going on. So we trying to get back in here. So let's get back online. Let's try to get back at it. If it goes back out again, then we just go back out. We just gonna play with it as long as we play with it. I don't know what kind of games they playing. But anyway, fam, we're gonna talk about a few things and connect it kind of back to MLK in terms of because we already, I don't know who you all, if you all remember, we read the book. We read that was our book club. Where do we go from here? And kind of discovered within that book that the whole idea that we are American, we're not just Africans in America. We are Americans in this country, and we are the descendants of slaves. That was King, who put that into place. So we honor that. We honor that his work led here on this day. We honor all of that. So it's not just we honor the legacy. We honor who he is, and then we honor the work that you all have done. Right? I saw, and I just want to, let me just bring some family up, who were out there doing the work today. We saw you, and we have to celebrate people when they out doing the work, and out teaching, because it's all about teaching. People were out there teaching about ADOS, teaching about reparations, teaching about what we believe, teaching about the racial wealth gap, right? Teaching about why it's necessary. Teaching about redlining, teaching about reconstruction, convict leasing. See, with us, it's not just charity. Charity is a part of it. And there's nothing wrong with us being charitable to one another. But you have to know how you landed in this position in the first place. That's got to be there. That knowledge has got to be there. Everything that we do and how we move has to be anchored in that knowledge. We saw some people talking to Bernie, like, Bernie, what's going on? Ain't no reparations plan. And apparently they apologize, thanks to Afroplex, I think, who put this up. Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate you. And that was a beautiful video. So not just this video, but your MLK Day video as well. So the thing that I think, what we're seeing, though, is a kind of activism in the sense of you can't just come in a room and just say anything to us anymore. You just can't come in a room and just say what you want to say. And because we don't know no better, we just say, well, that sounds good. That sounds all right. Sounds like they got a plan. They seem all right to me. Because if you believe that way, you really would have thought when Bloomberg came out and he started talking about $70 billion? The green, and he said he was talking about Tulsa and all this stuff. You would really be like, well, they finna do something. That sounds like a lot of the monies. But see, if you know that we're talking about the racial wealth gap, and if you know that that gap is like 10 to 12 trillion, like, then you know that, like, yeah, this is a problem. If you know that Bloomberg is worth billions, like, was it like 50 or something? And he's trying to give all of Negroes help in terms of assistance to get a house and a little business. If you know that, then you know that what he's talking about isn't nearly enough, and we're going to get into it. And I'm going to let you all have some words today. I'm going to try to let a couple more callers get in, be concise, to say what you got to say about if you did something, if you were out, if you weren't out and you have some information you want to share, whatever. I want to let that get in too. I'm going to try to make my segment a little quicker. It's MLK Day. Everybody needs to be here. But I want to celebrate the people who were out doing their thing. We saw all of y'all out doing your thing, doing your activism. Right? And it was absolutely beautiful. That's family out there. Working. Doing their own thing. In your own chapters. In your own communities. That's what this is. That's what the work looks like. People love to talk about stuff. And well, see, the problem is, nah. Anchor that in something. Pull your ADOS and anchor it in something that matters, right? And do some real stuff like our people did today on MLK Day. And we not only just had the activism, we had everything that comes with it. I just want to make sure we shout out that, because when people do things and when people get active and involved in activism, and you have to reward that and acknowledge it, because that's important. Because you could have been somewhere, if you off, you could have been asleep, you could have been doing nothing, you could have been on just laughing at goo. You were doing that, and that deserves that acknowledgement. Speaking of acknowledgement, ADOS, we also made national news on, what was that? Sunday, with this ABC News article. So we not only did we do the thing today, we made national news again. And what people are finding is that in order to do, see, here's the thing. In order to go through, we're growing and we're building. There are two big takeaways from that article, right? One of the takeaways is this. We're not a disinformation campaign. They could find no evidence of that. ABC couldn't, New York Times couldn't, because we ain't. So there's no evidence of that. So everybody stop saying all this dumb stuff about it's disinformation campaign, it's a bot. People can't make up their minds. You got one side. You got a team of knuckleheads. You got the mainstream media saying they bots. You got a knucklehead, a little Talib rapper over here talking about they right-wing MAGA funded. You got Tariq and them saying they shields. A whole bunch of goofballs. If the goofballs could hush for a minute, we could finally get something done. But it is what it is. It's small work. Nothing enormous. But that was one of the things in the article. So the disinformation, I said there were two things. The other thing in the article that's important, it showed how many conversations online that had the ADOS hashtag. When we talk about race in this presidential election, we're the ones who are moving the needle. We are the ones who are moving this conversation. We are the ones who are challenging candidates. We are the ones who are in national news. We are the ones who are saying, no, what about reparations? That's us. This is moving the needle, and what you see in those conversations is how that needle is being moved again and again and again, and how these candidates are being pressed and they don't really have an answer, so they keep coming up with the same thing again and again and again. You want to be Buttigieg and you want to call it the Douglas plan. You want to be on Bloomberg and you want to talk about Tulsa. You're gonna make it about Black Wall Street and what happened there, but the money ain't there. So let's talk about the money not being there. Let's talk about it. Bloomberg unveils economic justice plan at site of Black Wall Street massacre. Now, let me just say, if you gonna do something like that, it doggone better be good. Because if you gonna announce something, that's basically, as far as I'm concerned, a graveyard to people who were massacred for no reason except for racism and hatred. So if you're gonna announce there, you better make it good, and you didn't. And you didn't. Because I want to explain one thing really quickly. Because this is going to give context. I want to give context. I like to frame things. I want to give a context for why he didn't. Because some people will say, well, Yvette, because somebody messaged me this. And I said, that's a good question. That's what I said to myself after I answered it. I said, I need to mention this in the show. So, well, it's a black agenda and we need a black agenda, right? So what's our bar? Like, what's the bar? in terms of what we're trying to do? What's the bar? Is it just reparations, or can we have a black agenda? What is our bar in terms of presidential candidates? What's the bar? So here's the way I like to think of it. You're talking about the cause of something and the outcomes. So it's almost like, let's say you have, or let's say somebody you know has some type of illness or disease, right? So whatever illness it is, there's a cause of that illness. So like, let's say it's a smoker, right? And they have lung cancer because they smoked. They were 5 packs a day. I don't know what a lot of cigarettes is. A lot of cigarettes a day person. And they smoked and they got lung cancer. So the cause of that cancer is the smoking. But the manifestation is we got to take care of what's going on in these lungs and throughout this body and with these cancer cells. You have a cause, you have an outcome. Cause, outcome. So you have a black agenda and you have reparations. The stuff that needs to be fixed is the black agenda. So we talk about funding black businesses or funding for HBCUs and all that stuff. That's the outcome of everything that has happened to us systemically and oppression. Outcomes. The cause has been we haven't been made whole. Reparations. We've had systemic oppression. So reparations is like the heartbeat. We need that. That has to happen, and then around that, there has to be a black agenda. So you treat the cause, that's reparations. Got to have that. Around that is a whole body, because of that needs treatment. So they are there together, but one thing we're addressing cause and the other's outcome, but they're together. They're all part of the agenda. And what happens if you try to do it another way? It's kind of like what happens if you try to treat the cancer, but you still smoke the same as you smoked. You know, we only have one lifetime, but the cancer comes back. Like you may that person may die 2 years, 5 years from now, but you're putting yourself back in a position for the cancer cells to come back. That's just an example I'm using. So if you're treating just the manifestation, if you're treating just the outcome, and you don't treat the cause, it comes back. And then it can come back in different places. So you can treat a lung, right? And then it comes back in somebody because it traveled through the lymph nodes and it comes back somewhere else. So it's like you're still out here playing whack-a-mole because you didn't treat the cause. You never treated the cause and said, hey, you can't smoke. Like, you gotta stop that. Like, we already taken out part of the lung. We did this. That's what caused it. You have to address the cause. That doesn't mean you don't address the effects. It doesn't mean you don't address the outcomes. It doesn't mean you don't address maternal outcomes and you don't have affordable housing. It doesn't mean we can address all of that, but we're gonna be in a loop. If we don't address reparations, we're just in a loop. If we don't get reparations, we're just in a loop. It's just a loop that's gonna keep repeating itself. And reparations isn't just a check. We've talked about this before. For people who are not here, haven't been here, it's not just a check. When you talk about reparations, we're talking about protections for us. We're talking about availability of ownership. We're talking about a plan and an outcome. But we're talking about something that has a lot of stuff with it. So you have to keep that in mind. So as I'm talking about Bloomberg, I'm talking about him specifically, but I wanted to put that out there just so we know what we're talking about. Just so we have in our head what that agenda is supposed to look like. Reparations is the heartbeat of that agenda, but it's an agenda. Reparations just for ADOS, a black agenda for everybody, but the heartbeat of that is reparations. So let's go to what Bloomberg said. According to Bloomberg's plan, the initiative will pave the way for the creation of 1 million new black homeowners and 100,000 new black-owned businesses over the next 10 years. The former New York City mayor is calling for a $70 billion investment in America's 100 most disadvantaged communities and wants to help black families triple their wealth over the next decade to an all-time high. So let's go to the next one, family. We have a couple of quotes we're gonna get through really quickly. During the announcement, Bloomberg said the black exploitation through slavery, sharecropping, Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, and more worked exactly as intended, resulting in the average African-American family owning just 1/10 over the wealth of the average white family in America? Could I have built my businesses and enjoyed my success under those conditions? Of course not, Bloomberg said. But I also know that my story may have turned out differently if I had been black, and that more black Americans of my generation would have ended up with far more wealth had they been white. See, the problem is when you say that far more, you gotta put a number on that far more, and the number that you put on it ain't nearly enough. Even if you gone to 100, you say 70, go to 90, go to 100, it's still not enough. That's still not where we are. Let me go back to something else he said. He said something else I want to address. See, people always say, I want to triple your wealth, right? So if you triple my wealth and my wealth I'm worth 1,700, what have you tripled? If I got triple sound good, if I got $1 in my pocket and somebody says, I want to triple the money in your pocket, it sounds good until you realize I ain't got but $1 in there. And we go back to who we are and what we built. The richest country in the world has ever known would not be here without our labor. And then our failure is the gasoline on which this country runs. That's who we are. Nobody. You can't name another group that has been oppressed multi-generationally. They find a new way to do it every time. Convict leasing. Do it again. Mass incarceration. For that, reconstruction. Well, we're going to let people come into your communities and just burn them down. You can build wealth all day long. We can steal it. We can take it. We got no problem taking it. And nobody's going to stop us. So that's where we are. So it doesn't sound too good. When you think about it in that way, and when you understand your worth, it's almost like people talk about this stuff all the time. People, they talk about relationships, whatever, understand your worth. No, we really have a dollar amount. And you don't get to just get a discount and give yourself your own coupon code and say, well, this is it, and this is the plan. Y'all haven't even paid the people. We just had recently a direct descendant of Black Wall Street pass on. Nobody even gave the direct descendants who are still alive until recently anything. And you're gonna come up there talking about $70 billion and you worth 50 as one person. Everybody's doing the same thing, running this whack-a-mole game. Well, if y'all, let me show you this real quick, because they said the same thing. Remember, they doing it on everything. They did it with the college stuff. Do y'all remember when they came out and all the goofy people were saying, well, let me just tell y'all when what was it, Bernie or Elizabeth? I can't remember. They both just been throwing stuff at the wall. When they came out and said free college for everybody, we're gonna pay off your college, free college, everybody. And then it's just like I heard so many black leftist liberals, Bernie supporters say, well, black people go to college too. They do the same thing as they're doing right now with housing. They just try to throw us little stuff and say black people too. But do we not remember that African Americans, this is from the Atlantic, with college degrees are twice as likely to be unemployed as other graduates. So even if you're gonna give me college that don't matter as my reparations. Is that what we doing? Because that ain't what I want to do. I ain't asked for that. That's fine, but it's got to mean something. I got to have plugs and outlets. Plugs and outlets. This college is supposed to catapult me solidly into the middle class. And if this is true, and it is, African Americans with college degrees are twice as likely to be unemployed as other graduates, we got a problem. We have a very, 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 very serious problem. And it's not going to be fixed by whack-a-mole. We're not doing it that way. That's not how any of this works. See, one of the things that we have to come to terms with as we work our way through all of this stuff, one of the things that we have to come to terms with is that America needs to fix race. It's not about just fixing college, or it's not about just, in terms of us, specificity. Now, if you're just doing a class-based plan that's good for the quality of life of everybody, but you got to do that after you fix us. Because we got a debt that goes way back. If you want to fix everything for everybody, if you want to do redistribution of wealth for white America, hold on, we got a bill first. This bill was put here first. Can you take care of this first? You don't go and give away a bunch of money when you owe me money. No. Before you go throwing money up in the air, I need you to pay what you owe. Then we can move on. MLK did that. He said, pay what you owe. Everybody want to talk about MLK all day long. MLK believe all people was together. And we would go all be little children. And we would go all hold hands. And nobody talked about the justice of MLK. Nobody talked about how MLK believed in justice and justice Jesus. You just want to talk about walking hand in hand. But you don't want to talk about what justice means and what justice means about paying your debts. You want to talk all day about the Bible. You want to talk all day about King was a Christian and use that as your cover. But you don't want to talk about what Christianity meant to him in terms of justice and what was owed to his people. You don't want to have that conversation, huh? You don't like that king, huh? You don't like the coming to get our check king, huh? You don't like the king who said we're American, huh? Because you want race to just like, you don't citizenship. You don't want none of that to figure into what we're doing. You don't like what King said about white liberals, huh? You just want everything to be about Trump, but you don't want to say anything about, when you read Chaos of Community, MLK, where do we go from here? You see he had a lot of condemnation for everybody. We don't even want to talk about what King said about us. About ADOS not having paid the cost. Enough of the cost so far. We don't want to talk about that, King, huh? A lot of stuff we don't want to talk about. A lot of stuff we don't want to do. A lot of stuff Bloomberg don't want to talk about. But we can't fix this going piecemeal. This is not a piecemeal project where you give us and you say, black people go to college. Go to college too. We're going to pay off everybody college. We're going to help you get a home loan because black people need homes. That's how you get your wealth through your home. No, not for us. See, everything is not for us because you made us a contagion of wealth. That's what it is. Can't let black people move over there. They got these, so y'all came up with covenant deeds and all this kind of stuff to not have us come over there. Because the red line said if we come over there, then we're a contagion to your wealth. So your house depreciates because we next door. What kind of country does that? All these years later, you still don't make it right. And then we come to Bloomberg and he's going to make it right with 70 billion. Now you worth like 50, Bloomberg, and you're going to make it right for a whole group of people. 14% of the population are black. And we don't have to split between ADOS and others. But you're going to make it right with like 70 billion. Oh, they have some nerve. Oh, the nerve. It's always something with these people. It's always something. Let me find the other clip I want to. We have to talk about housing too, because we have to talk about what housing will and won't do. Because a house don't do for us what it does to other groups. I'm not going to read this one because I think we already got that. Somebody, let me just mention this as an aside. Why don't this man just drop out? I don't even know what he's doing. First he said no reparations. Then he tried to unveil a plan that didn't look like a plan. We're going to get back to Bloomberg. But why are we doing it? Let's just explore people who just do stupid stuff. You can't come in and say no to reparations. I don't think so. Or whatever you said. You didn't even have a plan. Then you come in with some black economic agenda. Deval Patrick. That's what old Deval. Eliminate student debt. They just saying the same. Why they all regurgitating each other? Eliminate student debt and make public colleges and university, affordable for all. Affordable for all. You go to free, not free, but affordable. Well, that's fine, whatever you want to do, but I don't care. You don't, what are you polling right now? And then, is there no political imagination no more? Why are people just doing whatever they want to do? What is this little dumb stuff? Gosh, good grief. Affordable and free for those who participate in national service. I've heard that junk before too. His plan to stimulate economic growth. Oh, that sounds okay. For black communities includes creating business incubators. Oh, Negro. Let me stop. Business incubators in minority communities. Minority. Not, you see, minority could be anybody. Minority could be a Latino. Minority could be gays. Minority could be women. But minority could be anybody. Investing in workforce training and targeting historically underserved communities with infrastructure proposals. Oh God, nobody has courage anymore. I've never seen such cowardly little scarecrows. Oh, he would construct low to middle income housing, expand programs for first time homeowners, blah 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 blah. Public option, which was Obama's thing before Obama backed off of that. Focusing on mental health and conducting more research into. We don't see that. Let me just say this, family. Listen, we don't need no more research. There are enough books and studies done. We don't need no more research. And I certainly don't need a black man researching. Have you been black, really? I mean, what do you read? What don't you know? What don't you know? I don't understand what you don't know. You have to specifically repair ADOS. That's priority 1. And then we can move on to a black agenda. ADOS priority, move on to a black agenda. I don't know what are you doing? And so you're going to do disadvantaged communities. That could be anybody. That could be Appalachia. That could be what is this? See, if you're too afraid to do black politics, and I mean, when I said about ADOS politics, if you're too afraid to full-throatedly speak on behalf of what it's in the data, it's not like you're making it up. If you're too afraid to do that, then what happens is we're too afraid to go vote for you. We'll just do dim down ballot. We don't got to vote for you though. See, the doorway into what needs to be done in terms of our ADOS agenda and black agenda, the doorway to black people comes through ADOS, right? And you have to come through the doorway of ADOS to come through the doorway of the White House, because you don't have the demographics yet to have other communities make up for us. So if you don't come through the doorway of ADOS, you do not go through the doorway of that White House, and that's it. Ain't nobody playing this game no more where you throw a little money at us. Well, he do look like he at least gave us something, you know. The other people, they don't even really be giving us nothing. They ain't gave us nothing. He gave us something. There's at least something. They needed something. And let's go back to this house. Let's talk about this housing really, really quickly. Because, you know, sometimes stuff just burns your goiter. So, that's an old phrase old people used to say, if you're in the South. Anyway, the thing is, here's the thing. Let's just look at, and this was from, I think, QZ.com, but let's just look at homeownership rates by race. Just take a look at that chart. Just for a second, just take a look at the chart for me. Now, this is what we're looking at. And people say, well, that just goes to show, Yvette, that we really do need housing. Well, hold on. Just pump your brakes. Don't get outside yourself. Don't get a bee in your bonnet. So, let's just look at this too, because this goes into it. Median value of primary residence for U.S. families with holdings. Okay. Black households on the bottom, always on the bottom. White households up top. Now let me bring it up a little bit. Let me bring the chart up a little bit so you can see the bottom of the chart. Now I want you to keep that in mind as we move forward, because I know what you might be thinking. I just said what I might be thinking, but I know what you might be thinking. Well, that means we just need more homes, and wealth comes through home ownership. So doesn't that make the case, Yvette, that wealth comes through home ownership and that's what we need? Well, no. We need wealth. And I'm going to read this and I'm going to come right back to it. See, they're talking about closing the home ownership gap or whatever. Closing this gap doesn't address wealth inequality because it fails to acknowledge the racial gap and home values as well. Read that sentence one more time. Just read it from closing. Closing this gap doesn't address wealth inequality because it fails to acknowledge the racial gap in home values as well. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're gonna keep going. Don't worry. It is important to consider wealth then independent of home ownership. Black Americans have a larger portion of their wealth in housing than white Americans. The disparity here matters when you consider that the median net worth of a black homeowner is less than the median value of a black home. What that means is that your black life eats up your black house. Your black life eats up your black house. That's what that sentence means. The disparity here matters when you consider that the median net worth of a black homeowner is less than the median value of a black home. That's to say that other household liabilities eat into black families' home equity. The same cannot be said for the average white household. When you count, and even when you look at the data, the median black family isn't worth 10 times. You know, like they said, the white family's worth 10 times more. It's worse than that. Without counting the family car, when you take that out, we're worth 1,700. It's more like 100 times. You got 100 times worth more than us. Like this difference is astronomical. They try to throw in all kind of depreciating goods and stuff in there to make it look like we're worth more than we're worth. We ain't. And it eats away our black house. Let me see what you have to understand. What we all have to understand is this. It's not the house. Stop thinking about the house and owning a house. It's having a house that grows equity and all that kind of stuff, right? That means you got to have wealth when you get the house. In order to get the house that has equity, you have to have wealth when you get a house, because you have to buy an expensive house in a good neighborhood. You know that usually means a white neighborhood, because our homes don't grow in equity. So you have to have wealth to get the house that has wealth in it. Having a structure that keeps you out of the cold is not necessarily a home that has value. That's just something that keeps the rain off you. Not the same thing. Just because you in a quote unquote structure that's a house, not necessarily a home. Not necessarily something in black communities that increases in value over time. And we're not even going to get into all the other stuff about the kind of houses that they sell us that are only built to last like 86, 70, 80 years. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. That's not a home that accrues value. See, wealth, the situation that we're in is this. Wealth begets wealth. Since we have no wealth, we were redlined and put off and put in other communities by ourselves so they could do stuff to us. When you're in a group by yourself and you're the bottom caste, they put you over there so we can do everything we want to you. We can give you shabby houses. We can put nuclear facilities over there to make you sick and die. We can do all that stuff to you. If you over here mixed up, we can't do it. We can't figure out who is who. Y'all all just Americans all of a sudden. We don't want y'all to be American. We segregating you for a reason. And we're making you a contagion of wealth so that even if a white person wants to do right by you, they can't, because it's going to destroy their life. That's how they did it. That was the game. And wealth begets wealth. So if you want a real house that has equity and you can go and use that joint like an ATM and get some money out of it and keep fixing up stuff in your house, if you want that house, then you have to have wealth to go get that house. Being a black person who is able to just purchase a home is not wealth. The little bit of equity that you might have in that home, it too is ate up by the life that you have to live. All because they decided that we were Negroes. You all are black. Who? Based on what? What you said? This kind of construct you decided? You decided on it, then you decided that black was on the bottom. You decided on black, you decided that black was going to be the slave. And we was going to be on the bottom. That was you. We didn't do that. You did that. Come on now. And then you want to tell me you're going to fix this with $70 billion. What's the defense budget? Psh. Well, this is what we going to do. I'm going to go out here to the Black Wall Street and I'm going to make a speech. That's what I'm going to do. Now, I done did all this stop and frisk stuff too, but maybe I apologize. Maybe they'll forgive it and forget. Huh? This was Antonio Moore's chart. What is that? How you going to do that? You going to make up that? Look at that pie chart. White American households own 90% the national wealth. Black Americans 2.6%. How you going to fix that? With a plan that will help y'all with down payments and to have some businesses. That's what we gonna do. And I'm gonna make a speech because I know y'all love symbolism. Y'all love y'allself some symbolism. So this how we gonna work it. I'm a billionaire now. I done took everything. Now I'm not saying like 50 billion. Like, understand, he's not an Oprah billionaire. Come on. Can't do it with housing. Can't do it with education. Plugs and outlets. Like Antonio said, plugs and outlets. And let me just say one other thing. Let me take this chart down. Let me say one other thing really quickly. Let me just put together a hypothetical for you. Let's say you looked up and you were wondering, we always put the chart up that says like who has the little wealth that exists in our community, and we talk about how it's mostly the boomers, right? Now let's say you looked up and you're boomer hooked. So you doing all right. Right? And you were able to purchase a house that has, that's a house, has equity and all that kind of stuff. Let's say you were able to pull that off. Kudos. I don't wish you nothing. No bad ill will. I celebrate success when I see it. But even if you were able to pull that off, let's just say you had a cousin. And let's just say your cousin might have got into some trouble. Let's say your cousin got in trouble down south and ended up here. Ended up in Parchment Prison. Even with your house and even with the life that you live, that blackness will follow you because they haven't fixed it for everybody. So now you are still stuck in a situation where there's nothing you can do. You are stuck in a situation where if you have been driving through there at the wrong time, like the dude who got 12 years for the cell phone, that could be you. I'm not saying he hadn't done other stuff, but how you get that much time for having a cell phone in a prison? How, did y'all see that story? It was in the newsletter this week. How? There is no piecemeal fix to what we're facing. And let me tell you something else. I've seen stories on this. This was on I think it was, let me see. We talk about Parchment Prison, CBS this morning. And I want you to see something. I want you to just look at something. Because this is race. 662 of 1,352 guard positions are unfilled. When you see something with this many guard positions unfilled, that's half. Almost. Like, well, we're talking about half of the guard positions unfilled. Does anybody know what that means? Can we talk about what that means? Half of it is half. But that means that the prisoners run it. That means that gangs run that prison. Now, you are supposed to go to prison because they don't want you in society. You are not supposed to go to prison to be maimed, murdered, raped, and tortured. That's not what it is. That's not what prison is supposed to be for. Why so many guard shortages, Yvette? What's the problem? Well, you paying them $26,000 a year. That's poverty wage. I know some of us make it, but that's poverty wage. You put them in there with violent prisoners, you vice lords and some other stuff they were telling. I was reading about earlier. Some of the lowest wages, worst prisons, Mississippi. And then 65% of the guards are women. Now let me tell you something. Family, be very wary of something. Because, you know, I saw shout out to Jamie on JB Fowler. He went up to Tulsi Gabbard and she acted like she didn't even know what parchment was, and I don't think she did, because I haven't really heard candidates speaking about parchment. If you have, let me know in the chat. I haven't. You should be very careful and you should be very weary and concerned when people don't hear you scream. See, because what's happened in parchment is that these people, these men who are there, that's what I see. The videos that I have seen and the images that I have seen, these are torture videos. Right? And nobody hears them scream. When you live in a society, it's almost, when you live in a society and people stop hearing you scream, that is an ominous sign of what the plan is for you. That is saying we don't care about you. We don't. The fact that it got this bad. This right here is a shower. Now, what kind of shower in general population? Look at this. What kind of shower is this? This, hold on a second. These are live wires. You know, just electrocute yourself in the prison. Electrocute yourself. These are live wires. Like, I haven't seen kennels like this. I never. And that will be inhumane to the dogs. But I have not seen that. This is a jail cell. Looks medieval with blood on the floor. Somebody died in there. Sure, I'm sure. Somebody said, when they talked about Abu Ghraib, when they were doing this stuff, and it was rightfully outraged, but no outrage now. When we do that in Iraq and the soldiers come on, but no outrage about this. Blood all over. When people stop hearing you scream, it's a problem. It is a problem. They ain't even talking about it. You know, they're not even like doing what they normally do, which is say a little bit about it and say, well, we hope they figure it out. We hope they do something about it. No, they just like, no. Don't care. And think about it. They just don't want to make these people, these candidates who are talking all this stuff about all this stuff they're going to do for the left. They got to be talking about the white left. Because the truth of the matter is, you're not going to win. Ain't no Democrat going to win Mississippi anyway. So why wouldn't you say what needs to be said about Mississippi? You're never going to win it. Even though it's got all those black people, it's got a bunch of, it's got Jim Crow laws and all kind of other stuff that prevent them from electing somebody. So you know the presidential candidate is not going to win. A Democratic presidential candidate is not going to win Mississippi. So the question becomes, why you want to talk about it? Well, you don't want to upset people who might be upset about you saying that it's wrong to torture black prisoners. What does that tell you about your candidates? What does that tell you about these candidates who are running around talking about everything they're going to do for the black people and the black vote? It tells me not to believe a word that's coming out your mouth. And I see now why you're just coming out with class and you don't really want to do nothing. Since when is it okay to torture people? You're supposed to serve time away from the general population. Torture ain't anywhere in that. Prisoners killing and dragging people. I saw a video of some prisoners dragging another prisoner down the steps, and after they done something to them, all kind of horrible videos coming out of there. They say they got whole floors where ain't no guards. None. And the guards so scared. I saw another video where the guards were giving prisoners uniforms. They scared. Ain't enough of them. So the vice run and all the other ones, whichever them gangs was, all them gangs run to prison. Imagine your kid getting caught up. He had a little marijuana. It ain't legal. Stuff happens, and I'm not justifying it, but he needs to serve his time, and so he's there, and he has to deal with that. And you get him home, and like if he comes home alive, he's tortured. Everything he been through in there. It's illegal to torture people, and nobody cares. Ain't nobody talking about it. Ain't nobody putting no demands on Mississippi to do right by these inmates. None. And these are people. It's not just inmates. These are human beings with human feelings and emotions. They've been eating slop. I don't even know what that is. I saw something. I didn't even want to put the picture up because I know some of y'all may have eaten. I thought about it and I said, I know those pictures were bad, but they're not the worst I saw. Not the worst I saw. And so, as we talk about King, I think we always talk about, and we talk about what we have to do and what white America has to do. Those are two things. I think we have to understand that, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Serious people get serious politics. Serious groups get serious politics. And you can't, and I don't mean to take shots, but sometimes I do. You can't replace, you have to be honest about what you're doing and what you're watching. You can't try to replace serious politics and serious efforts and serious research with like a buck breaking documentary. I'm just telling you. Like, this is not going to fix anything. This is just a finesse. We have to get serious. And we can all, listen, we're in a group, we can all debate about, well, what's the most effective tactic for here? And what do we need to do over here? And how do we need to move over here? But you have to see stuff for what it is. Right? Do not lie to yourself. The one thing I want to say, I don't care what happens, don't lie to yourself. If something is entertainment, I don't like it. I never would like it. I don't think it's funny. I don't think he's funny. But tell yourself what it is. And you have to understand that what this person is doing when we talk about Tariq is that it's important because we have fallen for this too much. We feel it's kind of the same thing with Obama. It was symbolism over substance. It's the same thing with him. It is just the same thing in the sense of it makes you feel empowered because somebody's talking tough. But they're not going to do anything and they don't know anything. And so they're just going to babble their way to the next thing. And what we need is an app. And what we need is a league of attorneys. And what we need is this. What we need is that. You're never going to really do anything. You're just going to neutralize other people who are trying to do big things. So I think there are times when, people always say, well, Yvette, sometimes you get into it with people. Yeah, because I'm making you choose. And you need to choose. And you don't need to choose. I'm not telling you to choose Yvette. I'm not telling you to choose Antonio. I'm telling you to choose yourself. Choose yourself and your family and what it's going to take. What is going to take to do the best and move your family forward? How are you going to close the racial wealth gap in your own house? The only thing I'm telling you is that you're not going to do it with a buck breaking documentary. And you're not going to do it. Somebody sent me a clip of him making fun of a Dominican man. And that's not politics. That little man looked half slow. And so did the person who was making fun of him. That's not politics. It's not going to get you anywhere. I'm telling you, serious groups get serious politics. That's not politics. You don't get politics by thumping your chest. You get politics by doing the work, doing the research, and doing what I saw everybody do today. Y'all were teaching, y'all were talking, y'all were showing up and showing out with your ADOS gear on and building and moving. That's what moves it. That's what moves the needle. You move the needle. You, all of y'all who out there, you move the needle. I didn't helicopter into none of this stuff. I'm not trying to be like some other people just had a limelight. No, you all are, listen, I see all of the people out here who are emerging as leaders in their own community. You might not even see yourself, but I see you. I see people in their community and online who are emerging as leaders and fighting. But let me tell you something else before I end. You got to support those people. Some of y'all, whether it be online or whether it be in the streets, you will not support the leaders in your community. It can't be all the same people taking all the same daggers. We got support teams. You got leaders. You got some people who are good at technology. You got some people who are good at media. You got some people who are good at writing. Everybody got to play a role. But you got to support people. All this sideline stuff. And let me tell you something else. My DMs are always open. My DMs are always open. Don't you come talking loud to me and you ain't having DM me. Why didn't you say something to me? I'm showing up on everybody's thread. You didn't say nothing to me. Well, I don't understand. No, you just thought you could whisper on this. All that whispering sideline stuff is gone because cohesion is important. And my DMs are always open. Ain't nobody, we're not doing this stuff. In 2020, we're not doing this stuff. All this divided stuff all the time. Well, I don't understand why they fighting. I don't know why they said what they said. And even if I don't respond to you, I heard what you said. Maybe it wasn't a question. But usually I respond. If I didn't, I heard you. You just sent me some stuff and I saw it. But if you ask me a question, I'll say whatever. But don't be all this. I don't know what. I don't know what the first. Are you gonna? I said when I throw a chair, you throw a chair. Are you gonna throw a chair or hide under a chair? Least you can do if you can't throw a chair is just like sit down. You just hide and do it. I think, you know what I think? I don't see what I think. I don't think we should necessarily do that. I don't understand. You'll never understand. We stay fighting and we stay winning. We be winning all the time. Winning the fight, putting on all kind of badges and you every time. It's about that. I don't know how I feel, girl, about that. Man, I don't know either. I think we just be fighting everybody all the time. Everybody all the time. Who? We be smoking hustlers out their holes 24/7. Just smoking all the hustlers out their holes. They be running out coughing. Ain't no way to drop a smoke bomb. I didn't even know. And there's a method to the madness all the time. And you can always ask. Cohesion is important. Just being loud and disagreeable for the sake of being loud and disagreeable is not the direction we necessarily want to head. No. We got to start being ride or die, not ride and hide. Ride or die, not ride and hide. Got a lot of good people in the streets. Got a lot of good people online. Got a lot of good people everywhere doing a lot of good work. And people need to be, let me tell you something, when people who are doing good work don't get supported, they stop doing good work. Because they're not acknowledged. And people start, and there's a lot of backbiting. No, you got to support, and then when they get tired, you got to step in. So that's all I wanted to say, because I'm going to go to the calls. We at like the 50-minute mark and let everybody say what they got to say. But I just had to say that. You know how I do. So anyway, fam, give me a few minutes as usual to set up the calls. We will be back and we will have the conversation. Fam, let's go. Let us go. Let's go to the calls. We're going to the calls. I am going to one second. I'm going to 310. Hold on one second. All right, 310. What's going on? Let me see if I got that.
What up, man? It's Tone Talks. I'm gonna keep it brief. It was interesting. I shout out all the ADOS people that around this country went out on MLK Day and made their voices known. I think a lot of people got a chance to get out with other people of like mind and feel some sort of community, and I really appreciate that being done. But let's get to the brass tacks of things, right, Yvette? Let's get to the brass tacks. ABC News does this piece, this article, titled "The Controversial Group ADOS Divides Black America." One of the things that I feel like is happening, Yvette, and you can chime in and if disagree, agree, is I feel like a lot of people are asking ADOS to carry the weight of race. Mm. And when I say that, I mean a lot of people that either both follow us right now or don't even follow us did a lot of bad politics. And I think that they're coming through ADOS and learning, and we're all learning. I've been here, though. I was never a Pan-Africanist. I was never a grifter that saw urban life. Now, I appreciate that growth is happening, but because of what you did, this thing is all upside down. And I see that in the form of Pan-Africanism, immigration, grifterism. You know, you've been out here selling bad mortgages, but you see the problem with it now. And so what happens now is that there's no environment created for ADOS to actually set the way it's supposed to. So when ABC News comes and does an article, we gotta hear from you, the person that created the environment. Why is it titled that way? Well, because he was a Pan-Africanist. I'm just saying. So when I say that, I mean, in what world is it controversial to call yourself ADOS when people already call themselves Haitian or Jamaican? Mm-hmm. Well, again, because you was Pan-Africanist, you created an environment where they get to double dip and have CARICOM and believe they were supposed to get reparations. I always knew they weren't supposed to get that. I keep telling y'all I didn't vote for Obama. I voted down ballot in 08 and in 12. Now, I'm not here to blame people, but what I don't want to hear no more is no contrarian, why the world ain't perfect stuff from people who created the imperfect world. Mm. And that's what I feel like is happening for a lot of people. They talking around us about like stuff we saying. We fixing your mess. And I'm just saying we got to celebrate the story for what it is. I think it's a solid piece. But you can't ask the race, you can't ask the article to fix a mess that you left on the table. I'm talking about personally, you, the person listening right now. And I don't know if everybody is really understanding the calamity of things until we see Parchment, or we see Louds County, or your mama need $100 that you don't have, or ask you to borrow $100 and don't give it back to you, and your whole relationship about to fall apart over $100. And I'm just saying all of this because I feel like the ABC News piece, one of the things that I picked up and I guess I would like to hear your opinion. One of the things I picked up immediately after it was, how can I be contrary? For the sake of it. That's what I felt a little bit. And it's like, you might not have a right to be contrarian because you created the contrary, or you played into it. Let me say that. What you think, Yvette?
Well, and I think that's true, and I think that I also think it's true that like people don't understand the process. Like, understand that, like, there was a lot of stuff, like, this has gotten better. Like, there's a lot of stuff because this article that can't be said anymore. So it's not like, even though we know what ADOS is, people are coming around to it because we're being disciplined, we're doing the work. You can't get mad at that, though. Like, it's not like they came out and said they really are bots and they're horrible and they're just dividing and they're... No, that's not what this said.
It's a trip to me because I thought it was a solid article. I'm not going to say it was a great article, but it was solid. And to me, it was relatively fair. I wouldn't have wrote it that way. But, of course, I would have wrote it as a vanity piece. But what I got to say is that it established the things that Yvette laid out, but it also established that we're here. You know, you had, I think Nasheed was over there saying he was glad he wasn't in it because it was a hit piece. I don't understand how somebody who didn't graduate from high school or barely graduated or went to high school, graduated from high school, says that about a national piece about reparations. The wildest stuff is said on this interweb in this YouTube space. I ain't been following what y'all been following, and people keep telling me this is good, these little films is good. I have no idea how y'all got here, but each their own. What I'm saying to you is that article, to say what it says on a national stage about ADOS and what we're establishing, is the win. Then you had, in addition, a whole statement around that we didn't move no politics. Did you think Bloomberg was going to talk about a black agenda without us? Or Deval Patrick? I don't even know if people understand politics. They're talking around us and about us. So let's get it right. And the thing is, it's not abstract. Marianne Williamson comes to Dash Radio. A lot of the stuff that she said was off track. I talked to Marianne for what? An hour that y'all saw, with another hour. Put her in contact with Derek. She goes on the presidential debate stage and repeats what I said, and we ain't moving no politics. Come on, man. Let me slow it down. Byron Allen, one of the richest black men in America. Understand, everybody got a lot to say, but they don't own that Weather Channel. We can do the little films if we want to. He gets Puff Daddy to write a letter that don't sound like Puff Daddy, that sound a lot like my videos, but we ain't moving politics. I don't even understand how we got here where y'all letting me... what are we talking about? What else we got to do, man?
I don't know.
New York Times, ABC News, all of it with no budget. Did a conference that was a day and a half. Charge y'all $15.
And hold up, and Tony and I walk away with zero money, but that's fine. I mean, we walking in the red.
And we still got to talk to other people. Understand, again, they bet with the Howard and worked on the Hill under Barbara Boxer and Marion Barry. And we talking to, come on, man, a guy that don't show his face as an example. What are y'all doing? What kind of politics y'all been doing? I'm saying to you, coming back to it, this article is solid. Is it great? Not necessarily. There's some changes I would have had. But the climate for ADOS to exist was never done by you. Forget everybody else. It's not just you. You're not the main component. But the person listening right now, what did you do to make ADOS have an environment it could survive in before we got here? And I'm saying to you, like, I go to what Yvette was going to at the end of her show. I ain't got time to be hearing y'all knick-knack at me. Don't knick-knack at me why y'all do this and why you do that, and you shouldn't have been that. Because ain't nobody calling you trash. And I'm saying to you, y'all better get out here and do some straight up like, no, that ain't going to work. Now let's move to the other thing. Michael Bloomberg. Part of the problem I'm having is y'all trying to meld down the conversation with people that don't know really a lot. What do I mean? It's easy to say Michael Bloomberg don't mention people of color, or it's easy to say your report has Latinos. The problem isn't that it says people of color, man. That's like pedestrian. Is it better if it said black, Yvette? Is it all of a sudden better if it say black? 20% Black America ain't ADOS. The problem with the whole, see, like, I don't even know how people got here where they don't even know the problem with what they're looking at. Because the thing is, you can't latch on, you can't use what we're talking about and not know what the hell we're talking about. The problem is it's place-based. It's a place-based initiative. It's a place-based initiative. It does not close the racial wealth gap. Let me explain. Again, I pulled the micro data. The actual executive at the Federal Reserve sent me the micro data. In the micro data, one of the things you see is something that basically shows, and it's not just ABC or the New York Times or the Washington Post, but nationally, the con has been to say we have 10 times the wealth. So basically, they take the median family, and in the micro data, that median black family is worth like $11,000. Then they take the median white family, and in the micro data, the middle white family is worth like $130,000. Now, the first problem is something that for those people that were here for 101 is when you have extreme wealth calcification, you can't allow white people to chop off their top. So you should really be looking at the average. So when we talk about the average black family is worth $110,000, and the average white family is worth $1 million. It's harder to close $100,000 to $1 million because now you got to give us land and everything else. But let's go all the way back. Let's leave that on the side, the median average. Just looking at the middle family, the reason they keep saying 10 times, the reason that even ABC says 8 times, 7 times, it's wrong. Because what's happening is when you actually pull the micro data and look at how the breakdown goes, the middle black family isn't worth $11,000 because 8 to 9 of it is car. They're using the family car to make it look like black families have wealth. If you take out the car, TV, and clothes, they worth $1,700. But the white family that's worth $125 or $130, when you take out depreciating assets, it's still worth like $115, $110. So what is $1,700 versus $110,000? We're nearing 60 to 100 times worth. But they don't want to tell everybody that. And so I'm saying to you, the question to Bloomberg isn't whether you can mention black people to make us feel good. The question isn't to ask us in our report that we did, why you mention Latino people, in which even Michi X, shout out to her, notice that it's a black quote. The question is, why don't we have any data on ADOS?
Yep.
The question is, why is it that your plan isn't focused on American descendants of slavery? You want to make it about color, which is just like making it about Latino. You don't even know what you're talking about. This is about lineage. Now, we all use the term black because it's so entrenched into our lexicon. But the fundamental reality is if you don't understand what you're talking about with the wealth data because you've never seen the micro data, you're really in the wrong space. And I'm saying this because overall, I feel like when we look at this thing, Bloomberg is trying to give us, what is it, $70 billion? And the gap is $12 trillion. But this is it. I'm going to leave it at this note. In what world, and this comes all the way back to the top, did Haitians or Jamaicans expect they were going to get reparations? It's a world where no one before told everybody what's in the Smithsonian. That it was, how many of y'all out there knew that there wasn't no black immigrants before 65? Really knew that it was barely none. How are you here? How are we here?
Yeah.
How did you build a world where you thought that the Haitians that got CARICOM already was going to get CARICOM and your reparations? But you so Pan-Africanist that you didn't even understand how Pan-Africanism was eating your family alive.
Ooh.
I'm just saying this to you because I'm looking at how we laying this thing out. And everybody wants us to be, just sit back. Too many of y'all, when that article came out, was too contrarian. You have a right to be critical. You can be critical. But don't be critical over there too, wherever else that we taking daggers. Well, don't come under Yvette's thread and my thread. Go under ABC thread. Don't deal with No Face and all the rest of these people. I'm just saying, it's like where we're at now is it's time to do politics. It's time to recognize wins. Shout out again to all the ADOS that were out there today on the steps of different marches all across the country. But I can't be your racial psychiatrist. I can't do that and push for reparations. I can't have you on one night saying, why did you attack the Reverend? On the next night, oh, that article looks great. You either with me or against me. That's all I'm going to say.
Appreciate it, Tone. As always, he done brought up the good bishop. Much appreciated, Tone. As always, yeah, I think and to those to clarify with that thread, part of the reason I came on, Antonio talking about Bishop Swan, so I just want to address it really quick. I came on that thread because I don't like people who punch down. I don't like bullies. I hate bullies. And I saw what he said on the because somebody sent me a screenshot of what Swan said, the fire emojis under Tariq Nasheed's page, because I blocked Nasheed. And I was like, that tells me who you are, but I already knew who you were, in terms of like, how Talib Kweli kind of checked you. But I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to cause a problem. I'm just going to leave that alone because I'm not going to do anything with that right now. But the thing is, then somebody sent me a link, where he was basically, some other ADOS were in there challenging him on what he was doing. And, he wasn't just even answering, he was also retweeting what they were saying and saying, you don't want none of this. You don't want none, won't be none, and stuff like that, stuff that you wouldn't really expect from a man of God. And I said, well, answer this right now. Answer this video where Tariq Nasheed said, single mamas single black mothers shouldn't get any reparation because they give birth to a bunch of bitch niggas. That's what he said. I said, answer to this. I don't got to answer you. I don't got to who you think you. And so we went. It was a whole back and forth. I don't like bullies though. I don't like bullies. And those who see me online know that if I see somebody, especially a blue check, bullying an ADOS person, because that's what a lot of blue checks do, that I'm always going to come in and I'm always going to be like, hold, pump your brakes. That's just what I do. And nobody's actively trying to cause division. But the dude went on. I heard that he might have been in Tariq Nasheed's chat last night, and I don't know, like he wants to, you got to smoke people out and you see who they really are. See, we got to draw lines. A lot of people out here trying to fence straddle and stuff, and we got to draw lines. I don't know. The dude kept talking. I said what I said, and I moved on. He kept talking and calling me names and called me a brainless, scatterbrain, scallywag. He said a lot of 1950s insults. When were you born, child? But he said a lot of stuff. So I moved on, but he kept on doing that, and you're celebrating a man. Understand that what I tried to show him before we got into it was that you are highlighting a man who is divisive in every way possible, who makes puppets, does vile insults. What God do you serve, sir? And that's what I was trying to put forth. And then, at a certain point, there was a back and forth, and you can see it probably on his thread because I blocked him. I don't know how much you can see on my stuff, but whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is, and and I agree with Antonio. Don't text me nothing about, oh, I don't need this. My knees is shaking. I got a real soft underbelly. I sure is scared. It'll one or two things will happen. It'll either be resolved or it won't. Okay? And we'll see. That depends on what people's motivations are, what they want, what their true ambitions are, whether they're for the collective or they're for themselves. It depends on a lot of things. But I don't know how you show up. If that was really him in Tariq Nasheed's chat, I don't know how you show up to a man who is basically finessing his own group and giving a 3 or 4 hour conference meet and greet. Or maybe he's not doing that. What he could be doing is, because I haven't seen his event up on the site, the World Congress on the site. So what he could be doing is booking 3 hours right now and hoping from the ticket money to book some more hours. Ooh, it's a mean hustle. But anyway, let me go to the next call, fam. I am going to what? I'm going to 256. 256. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, this is the political guy on Twitter. My name is Trey. I'm from Decatur, Alabama. I'm just calling in because you had asked about what we're doing on MLK Day, and I wanted to give a shout out to the ADOS family. Since I've been in ADOS, I've been exposed to a lot of different things, and with Project Takeover, I decided to apply for the NAACP Next Generation Young Leadership Program.
Oh,
and I got accepted today, and I was on Twitter, and I was talking about ADOS life because my car broke down, and I spent all this money trying to get my car fixed, and I didn't have the money to pay for my fees, and the ADOS family came through.
That's the family do.
Helped me pay for the fees. Yeah, so I'm thankful for that.
That's great, fam. That's great, fam. I'm happy the family came through for you.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you for putting ADOS together for us. I was a political science major in school. I had called in a couple of times. The one time I talked about dropping out because I didn't have the money to pay for books.
I remember. Yeah. Okay.
So I just want to talk about Bloomberg's housing plan.
Okay.
And I don't understand why everybody keeps trying to go to housing, because the story I want to tell is about my grandmother's house. You know, she built the house in 2005 in a black neighborhood, you know, and right before she built her house, they had tore down the project, so they were in the process of building new houses. Well, my grandmother built a $100,000 house on land that we own, you know, it was family land or whatever.
Okay.
But my mom went in and did, you know, started looking at numbers and things like that after I told about ADOS and all this stuff. And come to find out, the house had depreciated to like $39,000 with the land included. So even with us having a housing plan, we have to have some type of regressive action that comes with it. You know, the values of these homes are just arbitrary numbers on paper. That's something that they could do with the flick of a pen. So I'm just curious about.
Let me say this, fam. Let me say this. If that house that your grandmother was in a white community, it would be worth far more. Same house, two different communities. And it's worth more because somebody says it is.
Yeah.
And that's politics.
And I mean, it's weird. Like on another side of town, that exact same 3-bedroom house would probably be worth, you know, $175, $200.
Yeah.
Easy. And it's on riverfront property. It's just that it's a black area. I had the ADOS Alabama group at my church last week, and I was showing them the neighborhood, and I was showing them my church because my church is historic. It was built as an underground church. I talked about it a lot on Twitter, and it was built underground due to the bombings that were happening in Alabama. And, you know, it's waterfront property. So, you know, that's expensive property. That's not everywhere in America. And it's just saddening to see how they have done us, you know, systemically, and even until today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a wonderful story. Yeah. Yeah. That's a wonderful story.
Yeah, that's all I got. I just want to thank you and the ADOS family.
No, thank you, fam.
All right, no problem.
Thank you for putting in work and bringing the ADOS out there and telling us that story. And I think something you said was so important. Had it been around, what you're really saying is had that house been around white people, right? It's worth so much more because it's in that white community. Over here around the black, that's what the contagion of wealth means, though. And you change that with politics. That's how you change it. You don't. They have to be policies. You can't just have some arbitrary number of some arbitrary bank or whatever. You can't change it that way. You have to have a political setup to change what needs to be changed. That's how you do it. I don't know what anybody else is talking about. So I'm going. That was a great story, though. I appreciate that, fam. And shout out to the fam who helped him pay his fees and stuff. That was wonderful. I didn't even see it. I get so many ats or whatever. But shout out to everybody. That was wonderful. I want to go to 419. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
My name is Marvin Hill. I'm from Sandusky, Ohio.
Okay. How you doing?
And my thing is that I want to start. I'm a migration north kid. I'm a first generation Ohioan. My family's from Mississippi. And when I hear the Parkland State Prison, my father talked about that from the 50s, how bad that place was. Mm-hmm. And I tell a lot of black people this. I'm a union worker. I think I'm probably the last Generation Extra who benefited from black people getting other black people the North Union jobs. I worked for the railroad. And I was trying to tell some of my friends, I said, you remember when our parents first came here in Ohio and Michigan, is that they had affirmative action laws in place. And I said, things like this, if there weren't no blacks on these jobs in Cleveland and getting these contracts, you could not work that job. And that stuff has like disappeared. And nobody wants to talk about stuff like that. Like Cleveland was like that. Like if you had a city job, a contract doing work in the city, you had to have so many black people working on those jobs. And that provided stability. And we don't have that no more. Because if you come to where I live at in Ohio, the industry is gone, and you just have like excess labor. And now you're starting to have all the social services sucked out. And you have a lot of crime, a lot of people, but then you have a lot of people who they think, oh, we can pull ourselves out with a bootstrap. No, you cannot do that. Because, like I told one of my friends, look at this small town we in. They're starting to gentrify the community, but what are they doing? They're doing it with government funds. You see all these loans given out, and they're not going to black people.
Yep.
And we don't have that foundation of what we had of GM, Ford, Chrysler, steel mills, which employed black people, what drew us out the South. And I don't know what's going to happen. I told you that you can have the people migrate to Atlanta, migrate to North Carolina, Texas, but you can't keep running.
Nope.
Because you can't ship everybody everywhere. And I was telling my friends that. I'm like, you know what? I work a union job, probably 1,500 people there, probably about 4 black people. But in the 70s, they were hiring all kinds of black people. There were just policies in place what got you employed. There were policies in place what got you loans. There are policies in place because we blockbusted the neighborhood. We moved into an all-white neighborhood, and I told people that. When we moved into our neighborhood, the day my dad closed on the house, the sheriff had to check. And my dad went to close. It was a federal, and it was the thing about it, it was a federal VA loan. You wouldn't have got that loan if it would have been from the VA, the government.
Exactly.
And when he went to close, the sheriff had to check and ask him, why do you want to move into this neighborhood? And nobody realized that. And I was trying to tell all my friends that. I said, when you look at all these people who bought houses who are black, and I look at the housing crisis, which I got caught up in, you know how many black people in the North right now are living because their mother and father were boomer and they had a house they could stay in, they would be homeless? How many family members are living in that house? I know in this small town, I can name 20 families where if their parents wouldn't have came up here and had a job and bought a house, whole family would be homeless. And nobody wants to talk about that. And we have a thing, like I told my friends that our lives are more like good times, but we want to live like blackish. And I said, our families resemble more Roseanne because that's just a normal living than like blackish. I don't think we would like a show like Good Times anymore.
We don't like no. Say it clean, Carla. Say it clean and straight. We don't. You're saying we don't want to see a show like Blackish. Really, what you're saying is that we don't want to see ourselves in the mirror. We don't want to see ourselves. We don't want to see our lives. We want to see our aspiration.
Yes, and I don't see that. I tell my friends that. I'm like, if you came to the industrial Midwest, like I said, if you guys go to the Democratic convention, I think it's in Milwaukee. If you went into the neighborhoods in like the industrial Midwest, it is. I don't. Like Cleveland. I mean, Columbus is gentrifying, but that's a more middle class. Toledo, Akron, Detroit. These places, it's like a bomb hill. And it's like, and black people, we're like the excess labor. And the government services, like if you look up in Cleveland, there was a girl who got hit. And the governor, look it up. The governor went to the neighborhood because they took out the traffic lights, and the lady crossed the street and she got hit by a car. This was like 3 weeks ago. And the governor DeWine went to that neighborhood and I mean, like, why did you take the traffic lights down? They said they were fixing them, but they just took all the traffic lights down. It was a busy street, and this black lady and her family tried to cross the street, and she got hit. That would not happen in a white city. It would not happen where I live at, in this little white community. Now, but it will happen around black people. And it's like, I don't think we even had the politicians we used to have who were more black-based compared to what we have now. Like I said, because I see things, and I wonder, like, where are we going? Like you said, our aspirations are they're more like the Boyce Watkins aspirations. Oh, we're all going to build a business, and we're all going to do this. And do we have encroachment of white businesses? Like right now in small town Ohio, black people don't even go to black barbershops. They go to white barbers now.
They do?
And if you come to small town Ohio, Sandusky, Ohio, I can name barbershops. Like, black kids go. I can send you the links.
No, I believe you. I just never have. I'm just so fine.
And it's crazy. And what is left for black people? We're just, and I just don't think, and I tell people that the little business we do have, and then if you try to start a black barbershop, or if you try to start a black business, like I told my friends that, they were told, we're going to get in the marijuana business in Ohio. I said, do you got the $250,000 application fee? You got to have some contacts in Columbus, political-wise. You don't got $250,000 application fee to get a medical marijuana. And we all had these ideas that is going to make us rich. You're not going to get rich. Everybody wants to get rich when we should be thinking about like how it was in the 70s. Let's get everybody at a standard level. I mean, when we had all the political jobs, we got to get. Well, we don't act like these jobs and stuff are not out here. We don't even try to get union jobs no more. We used to. You should have so many black people into the unions, into the electricians union, the plumbers union. Every type of union there used to be a lot of black people, but that has fallen off.
I understand.
I don't know what.
Go ahead. Let me let you finish up, Carl. You there, Carl?
Yes, sir. There.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have the last word.
Oh, and that's my opinion. I think that we need a big infusion of a lot of things in the black community, mainly politically, because you're not going to change this stuff through the free market. Because there's no reason to give Flint good water through the free market. They can't make money off that. That has to be the government has to take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
It has to be the government.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Sustainable communities.
You're absolutely right, Carl. And I want to thank you for your call, but you're absolutely right. I agree wholeheartedly. Okay. That was some real stuff you said. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Carla, for calling in. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised at the barber thing, because I've let my hair grow out, but I've never had a, when it was shorter, I never had a white barber. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Somebody sent me a clip. Y'all send me everything, and I love you for it. But somebody sent me a clip of Tariq Nasheed saying he got an Asian barber who come to his house. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised. People who talk about they do powernomics, but don't do it really. On his ism show, I guess, whatever that is. I don't even know why whatever. But so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that this is like a phenomenon or something that, that people are choosing barbers with. I don't even know. I don't know. I always thought the black barbers were the best barbers. That's just always been like, and it's such an intimate, barbers. That's such an intimate experience. That's such an intimate experience of like a barber, and they're touching your head and they're talking to you. I don't know how that would make sense, but for me, hey, everybody do his own. I think Tariq Nasheed's barber comes to his house, so he don't got to go to the shop. Anyway, let me go to the next caller. I am going to 916. 916, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Red, big sister.
What's going on?
This the brother lost his mom today.
Oh man, that's you.
Yes, yes,
Oh, I'm so
yes.
sorry,
Thank
fam.
you
I
so
think I
much.
commented under
You,
your
you
post.
woke up. You woke up my whole house when I was on the information man thing. He had a little show,
Okay.
and we was talking, and I came in, and my girl was like, "That left you a comment on Twitter."
Oh.
I ran, and I was so happy, and I was like, "Big sister, big sister."
Oh, fam, we love you. We here for you. We send you our deepest condolences, fam.
And I love y'all too so much. Love y'all so much. Everybody gave me so much support, more than my own kinfolks, man. Terrible.
Well, we family.
People ain't calling me yet. Blood.
Don't worry. You
man.
love. That's all. You love. Chin up. Just every day, do it every minute, every hour. Just take it step by step, fam.
I just wanted to share a little story about my mom and why this is so personal with reparations.
Okay.
My mom got caught up in the crack war on drugs, a.k.a. war on black Americans. And she died 50-some years old, young. Me and my mom didn't have a relationship. I was raised by my grandmother.
Okay.
About 8, 9, 10 of us in the house, whatever. I left the house at 9, Zach.
Okay.
Ran off, wanted to be grown. Because, back then you ain't going to be grown in here. You get out.
Yeah.
So I got out. Went to the streets. I got caught in a crack war drug thing. Because now I'm selling. Because I want to be grown and I want to be fly. Long story short is reparations is mandatory for what they did to us. Mass incarceration, war on drugs, war on black people. That's why it hit personal with me. Because my mom died from this stuff that the war was on.
Absolutely.
And then I was looking for someone so bad talking about reparations. I was talking about reparations since Obama. When they told me Obama was, I said, the first thing I said was, is he talking about reparations? No. So then I found you. Big Sister Yvette. ADOS. Because I was still using the African American.
Absolutely.
I'm still using the African American. So I'm like, ADOS. Black, okay, here we go. That's us. And I've been running with it, and nothing will deter me from this.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
We on a mission, fam.
And one more thing, Vet, and
sure.
I'm going to get off here. My sister is incarcerated right now out of all my mom's siblings. So we can't really do nothing until she get out, which will be next month. But I called up there and talked to the people, and, hey, you think you can release her and all this? No. But if she was a DACA in a cage, it'd be a problem.
So they won't even let her go to her mom's funeral.
Well, I couldn't get in touch because today Martin Luther King. You got to go through all these steps, talk to all these people. They wasn't there today, so I'll know something in the morning.
Okay.
But love you, big sister.
Love you back, fam.
Tone. And we got this.
Appreciate you,
and we're gonna keep on talking about it. We're gonna keep on fighting. And it's ADOS and nothing. I'm gone.
We with you, fam. We with you all the way. We with you all the way. And much love, fam. We love you. And that's what it is. I mean, we a family. You can't just say you a family and no, it is what it is. It is what it is. And that brother lost his mom. I remember seeing his post earlier, and it's, everything, especially with any kind of grief, that's 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. That's all you can do with it. All you can do is keep living this life and move through it how you can. So much love to that brother. And I appreciate everybody else who was I saw on the thread who was showing love and stuff like that. That's what we got to do though. Some of us, there are people who I remember doing and that's part of the reason I always show up on holiday shows. People be like, Yvette, most of the time, the only show I miss was the New Year's Day show. But on Thanksgiving and Christmas, stuff like that, if the show falls on that day, I always be like, Yvette, why you always do that? Because I know for a fact that there are a lot of ADOS who really don't have family, at all. you know, because of all the stuff, all the ravages of the life we live. And I always show up because this is a way to kind of be a part of a family that may not be your blood family, but it's still a family. So that's kind of why, that's kind of my reasoning for always showing up, even if the show falls on a holiday, right? That's my reasoning behind that. But I'm going to go to the next call. Run out of time real quick. I'm going to go to the wonderful calls tonight. I'm going to go to the next call. I'm going to 314. 314, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yvette, girl.
What's up?
Girl, it's Ashley from St. Louis. How you doing, Shawty?
I'm doing pretty good. What you going, Shaw?
Girl. You know I had to call in tonight, girl, to tell you what I found out, girl.
Okay. Okay.
The internet. So I want to talk about this conference a little bit because, you know, I know I had told you the last time I called that you should stay on the square, but I'm big enough to say when I was wrong, and I was so wrong. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, Yvette. I gotta apologize because this is very serious. This is extremely serious. What's happening? It's way more than
what's
just
happening? What's happening though?
What's happening, girl, is I don't know if any of these so-called SBA, you know, internet gangsters that claim they be having receipts on people. I don't know what they're doing with their time, but I know they're not looking at the people that are on this so-called platform. When I tell you that Dr. Boyce Watkins is the most legit one on there, that should let you know what kind of people they are. I mean, compared to the rest of them, Dr. Boyce Watkins is killing it. So, Shahrazada Ali, I don't know how you say her name. So I looked her up, and she be talking about how women have a smaller brain and that our black men need to smack us in the mouth. Like, all kind of stuff. I'm like, y'all gonna pay $120K to pay these people bills? I don't see how this is possible. And then this other guy who's doctor, I don't know what his made up name is, but you know his mama ain't giving that name. But he claimed he a doctor. He ain't even got no doctorate or no MD, DO, veterinary degree from nobody college. So I don't know how he a doctor. I don't know what he gonna talk about. But the one that really got me was this dude, Ronnie Stevens, aka Riza Islam. Girl, you mentioned that he had went to jail recently, and I
didn't mention that. I don't know nothing about this man. That's what I mentioned that because I don't know. Did he go to? I don't know.
You like, girl?
I didn't say nothing about that. I
didn't say he went to jail.
Yeah, I don't know where he went. I don't know nothing about that man.
Somebody said he went to jail on the show. I'm not.
Oh,
sure.
Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Riza Islam. Him and his mom went to jail, which I knew that they had went to jail. I kind of heard about that, but I didn't realize that they had spent a lot of time being Scientologists stealing from people. Now that I didn't know. They apparently they were Scientologists, and you know they don't believe in traditional medical treatment. So they had this clinic where they were treating people in these Scientology type treatments. And they were charging Medicare for it. So they gave Medicare for like $4 million, and that's why they went to jail. Now, I didn't know that. When I saw him on Sway in the morning, I thought, oh, okay, this is a brother that, you know, he's fresh, he look good, he know what he's talking about, he's a Muslim man. He don't have that platform that he's a Scientologist.
Okay, they can look it up. They can look it up. I'll let them look it up. I can't. I'm gonna let you go, cause we can get to a couple more. But everybody can look it up. But let me just say this: if everybody want to give their money to whatever they want to give, like if these people, thank you, Carl. I appreciate you calling in. It's a lot of stuff. But I think everybody's looking up our stuff, whatever. Like everybody should just investigate. Like if y'all bought tickets to the thing or whatever, you should be the ones looking it up. I don't know nothing about this man, Like this RZA or whatever, and all these other people. I don't know. I don't say nothing about them because I don't know nothing about them. I talk about stuff I know about. I don't know about these people. I talk about stuff that I know about. I don't know nothing about these people except for boys. Like I know about boys, but these other people I don't know nothing about. So it ain't a matter of me like not saying like, well why Yvette saying I don't know about these people. I don't know any of these people on this FBA conference except for boys that I can think of. That's all I know. I ain't never heard. That's not my square. I stay on my square. I don't know who these people are. Now everybody in the chat, y'all can talk amongst each other and figure it out. I don't know none of these folks. So if I knew something, I would say something. The only thing I can tell you is that boys gonna get up there and talk a bunch of do-for-selferism. So that's all I know. I don't know nothing about the Scientology. Y'all can look it up, and do whatever. And everybody who's paid their money. But I'm pretty sure the people in my chat ain't paid the money. so that's them though. But that's what FBA got to do. FBA got to figure that out. Whether or not what they want to listen to or who they want to do. That's their stuff. That's their business. It's y'all meet and greet. It's y'all's business. Ain't got nothing to do with Yvette. Ain't got nothing to do with the chat. That's y'all's business. It's all interesting, but that's on y'all. Where do we want to go now? I'm going to 773. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What's up, Yvette? It's Marlon, Chicago. How's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good, man. Good. I wanted to do two things real quick, if I could. I wanted to give a praise report and a clearing call with some help we need here in Chicago, and I'll be really quickly, and I'll jump off the line.
Okay.
If that's okay, is that cool?
Sure. Go ahead.
Cool. So first of all, I want to thank all the folks in Chicago that participated in the MLK event today. We were in a whole bunch of different places. We were at churches, museums, different events, passing out flyers, getting contact information. So shout out to them. They did an incredible job. I, however, wasn't able to attend. I intended on participating, but I couldn't go because I was invited by a good friend to a policy meeting. This is the praise report. And the policy meeting was hosted by an elected official who was seeking, in the city of Chicago, who was seeking tax relief for people who had been overassessed in their property taxes throughout the state of Illinois. Okay. And they are writing a bill related to this. And so my friend invited me to give the ADOS perspective. And I was actually able to change two things in the bill. And I'll tell you what they are really quickly. So firstly, they allowed me to change or replace the word minority communities with, because the bill targeted, make no mistake about it, ADOS folks. There were other communities harmed because of their proximity to us, but primarily it was our communities that were harmed. So they allowed me to remove minority communities and replace it with ADOS communities and other communities that may have suffered proximal harm. And that was an real easy transition for them to allow me to do that. The second thing they allowed me to change, and this took a little bit of work, it took some debate, there was a lot of tension around it, but essentially they allowed me to change the fact that they were using the word reparations in this bill. And so after a bunch of debate and me explaining the difference between what reparations is versus what local equity is, etc., they allowed me to remove the word reparations and replace it with tax inequity redress.
Okay.
And so, the only reason I'm saying all that to say, just being consistent and standing on your square, as you say, and making yourself available, sometimes just one person can make a significant difference. And this bill is actually going to go down to Springfield.
Okay.
So,
very good.
And it was just me. I was the only ADOS person in the room. And somebody knew my ADOS activism, and they wanted my perspective. So I'm saying all that to say, just being consistent and standing on your square and, not backing down. Sometimes just one person can, I know we need a lot of people sometimes, but sometimes just one person can make a significant change. So
I appreciate that.
That's the praise report.
Appreciate that, Mark.
Don't sweat, but that's the praise report. So, and the clarion call is, and I'll get off, is we've created a document in Chicago, ADOS Chicago, called the Illinois ADOS Equity Plan. It's not reparations.
is strictly related to equity in like several different areas that affect those people in Chicago. It deals with education, housing, contracting, procurement, health, seniors, and a bunch of different areas. And so we're actually going down to Springfield January 29th, next Wednesday, which is the State of the State address. And we have a lobbyist that's going to be working with us. And we have a few possible reps that may help sponsor the bill. And so what we're trying to do, we're trying to get as many people as we can to accompany us. And if we can get enough people, we're going to actually charter a bus, go down there, maybe do a press conference if possible, and take our lobbying packages to different representatives and try to get this thing supported. So if anybody is in Chicago or in the surrounding areas and want to attend, shoot me an email at marlon@adoschchicago.org. That's Marlon, MARLON, @adoschchicago.org. We got everything we need for this thing. We just want to get as many people as possible to attend. So if you're available, shoot us the email, and we hope to see you there.
All right, thanks, Marlon. Thanks for that. Appreciate it as always, Marlon doing his thing, and Marlon doing his thing out of the shy. So as always, we appreciate that. Going right now to 313. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Oh, Yvette, it's Smiley Right Gigi from Detroit.
What's up, Gigi? What's up?
What's happening tonight? I'm just so glad to get on. I just want to thank the whole entire fam and, let y'all know that we out here fighting hard. We out here doing the work in Detroit. I don't want to rehash the nonsense, but let me talk about the pulpit pimp for a minute, because for the people who weren't on Twitter, it was me that he was coming after.
Okay.
Because all I did was ask him if he was in the grifter circle with the rest of those a-holes. And his response was, "This ain't what you want," like some old street guy.
Okay.
So I don't know what he's on. He's a grifter. He's been grifting. If you look at his digital footprints, every single year he has a new angle. He's gone all over the place in his little NAACP fake activism. All he's doing is collecting donations and likes with his little stupid, silly Trump jokes and all of that foolishness he's doing for white liberation. So, he's not about anything for real. So when we smoke these grifters out, they come running and hollering at people, doing stuff to them. Ain't nobody talking to them. They talking to us. In fact, I ignored him. When he was retweeting and trying to get people to get excited and all that, I ignored him. And then it just got too big. And all of a sudden, you came into my rescue, and I appreciate you. And
let me just say one other thing.
And you didn't have to.
But let me say one other thing. Yeah, but let me say one other thing that bothered me at first too. There was another family member who was a man, who was a guy, a black man who had said something to him, and he didn't say nothing. When the black man said something to him, he didn't say nothing.
All of them are misogynist as hell. Him, Professor Black Lives, the Black Agenda of whatever he is, the Black Authority. I don't know. He ain't authority on nothing. He's not even authority on himself. Who are these people? These shadow babblers and these weirdos. I'm sick of it. We need to get them out the way.
Yeah,
all you people telling us, don't say nothing. Why y'all being divisive? No, y'all shut up and get out the way.
And shout out
with all that foolishness.
And shout out to the black man the other ADOS black man who was in the thread, because he kept going back and forth with Bishop Swan too. After Bishop Swan came back in and said what he said to you, and then started talking to him and going back and forth with him, because he started going back and forth with him too.
3 days.
But what'd you come in there for?
For 3 days, Yvette.
Yeah.
3 days, and all you said was a little piece about him supporting that grifter Tariq. And all of a sudden it blew up, and you all kind of scamps and all kind of weirdos. I don't know where he gets his business from. Like, what is this? It's some old-timey hokey stuff going on.
Yeah, it was weird.
We need to get these people out of the way.
Yeah, it was weird. It was odd.
Sick of it.
It was odd.
Shout out to Tone. He was on fire earlier, and you were dead-ass right about this space that we created. Because all these years of bad politics, all the Pan-African babble, all the bootstrappers, and all that foolishness is why we're in the situation we're in right now.
You exactly.
And until we get these people out the way, and the people that support them, we won't be able to push forward in the way that we're supposed to and get this reparation thing all the way through. I'm going to let y'all know right now, we're doing the work in Detroit. We're working with everybody. Don't believe all the nonsense that people saying we divisive. We even working with Cobra, believe it or not. And they going to be on ADOS agenda before you know it, too. We out here. And, you want to say something?
What's going on? How you doing?
Yes, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Everything good. I just wanted to elaborate on what Tone and the brother from Alabama was speaking about as far as the Bloomberg real estate thing, right? So there was an article that came out about a couple of weeks ago that talked about how since 2016 they have overtaxed Metro Detroiters $600 million. Okay, now they had a sister on here, and basically they're doing in Detroit the reverse of what they're doing in Alabama, right? So the sister bought a house for like $4,800, move-in ready, and when the appraisals came in, they appraised the house at $57,000, right? So when tax time came, they taxed her on not what she bought the house for, but what it was appraised for, which was the $57,000, right? But at the same time, she bought the house outright, and if it's worth $57,000, they'll tax her on the $57,000, but they won't give her a home equity loan for the $57,000, right? Yes, it's terrible up here. So, back to Bloomberg. Now, with all this going on, Bloomberg has erected a building. Now, it's a brother on Twitter whose name is Kofi, right? And I think he's running for like some kind of political party. He's ADOS Baltimore. He posted a picture today about how, it was like a liquor store, right? And that was like the only thing open in the area. It was building after building after building after building that was just basically shacked up. It was abandoned. It was boarded up. They were abandoned, right? The same thing is going on in Detroit. I mean, we go down all these main streets where these opportunity zones are, and 90% of the buildings are empty, right? But at the same time, Mike Bloomberg has come into the middle of Metro Detroit, one of probably the most heavily populated places in Metro Detroit, erected a building, put it up to code, and opened it within 2 weeks. So see that this is what money do. With the man at the same time, he telling us, he got a $70 billion plan, but you got $50 billion. That's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket, man.
Absolutely right.
The things that's going on.
You're absolutely right.
You say what?
I say you absolutely right. You absolutely right. You absolutely right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, it is really, 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 really just sad about what they're doing, and basically with the article that I was telling you about, how can you defeat that without reparations and a comprehensive plan surrounded around the black agenda? There is no other way.
Yep, you can't. Like, if that was the way to do it, if that was the way to do it, I would advocate that. It'd be like, I would advocate that as a first step or something. But there's no way to do it. Like, I think about it, when you think about it, it's like, there's no other way to do it. There's no other way to close the racial wealth gap, and that's what you got to do. So.
Exactly. So that's all I wanted to say.
Appreciate
Shout out to ADOS, man. Y'all, we love y'all, man.
We love y'all back. Shout out.
Life, man. Y'all giving me life. I seen everybody. I seen North Carolina, Alabama, LA, Chicago, Ohio, Detroit. Y'all everywhere.
Yep.
We beat up.
Moving. Building.
We beat up now. For sure. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you, fam. We love you back.
All right, bye, Yvette.
Bye, Gigi.
Hey, y'all follow us on Twitter. They will find him out direct.
Did you get your Twitter name?
ADOS Detroit.
Your handle? All right. Everybody, I appreciate it. Gigi, if you didn't give me your Twitter handle, you need to give it in the chat. But thank you, everybody. We're going to have to end the show right here because we like 10 minutes over because I was late. We had long calls, so I was going to try to get the calls in now, but it was good calls, so you can't tell them when you got a good call, you can't tell them not to be long, because it's a good call. We had a lot of good calls tonight. So anyway, fam, as I get out of here, please hit that like button. Do not remember that they were her property. Is our book club, January the 30th. That is when We will be reading that. That's coming right up. So please do not forget about that. Hit that like button before you leave out of here. Please hit that like button for me. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. Appreciate it. Please hit the like button for me. You can go to donatebrown.com or patreon.com/ycarnell if you want to donate. If you want to do something without donating, hit the like button or hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. All of that good stuff is there for you. Go to subscribetobrown.com. If you want a shirt, you go to adosmerch.com. We have some long sleeve tees there and stuff like so all that stuff. So whatever you want to do, but hit that like button. That's absolutely free and it's very helpful. So I would appreciate it if you would do that. And until next time, family, everybody take care of yourself, take care of the people around you. Don't let these people stress you out. Don't let it happen to you. Stress creates toxins and all that stuff. You take a bubble bath and don't feel no kind of way. Okay? So until next time, fam, enjoy your night, get a good night's sleep, finish whatever libation you have, and we'll talk soon.